You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Okay, well, as you can see, I'm back. Mr. Beaver is going to try rejoining us in a few minutes. He's having major computer issues. Currently, his desktop computer has no audio whatsoever. So whatever happened while we were broadcasting. I don't know if it has to... Oh, he says he's got it fixed. Okay. All right. So he should join us in just a second, and we'll be good to go. Awesome. This is great news. Okay, let me just kill this. And I got all kinds of stuff here in the background that I got to shut down and fix and readjust and rejig. You know how that goes, right? Okay, there we go. So we're back. Well, at least I am for the time being. Mr. Beaver should be here in a minute or two. Let's just say on a freezing cold, chilly day like today, it's kind of a reason to understand things just not wanting to work correctly. It happens. Okay, I'm going to send him a message here via the old shoe phone. If you're old enough to get that reference, please say so in the chat. And sent the link and let him know that he's good to go. All right. So he should join us in a moment or two. Oh, Mel, are you out of coffee at home? I have a coffee here. Here's a coffee. Take a sip. You get a sip of that right there? Yeah. Oh, my camera just turned over this way. I forgot to put it on lock. It happens. I still call it my shoe phone. And there we go. There's a cheers. I still call it the shoe phone. Shoe phone was Maxwell Smart, Agent 86 from Get Smart, the old television program from the 60s, which was a take on the James Bond series. Hello, sir.
Hello. Finally figured it out.
What was it?
Just the main volume on the computer just took a dive off the cliff and reset itself down to 0.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't anything that died then. There was a gremlin in the system and decided to have fun with you.
Yep, that little volume button that you press in the lower right-hand corner. I guess it just fell off a cliff and dropped itself to 0.
Well, there's something to check from here on out each time, right? There's you got to start adding to the checklist of things to do when we fire up in the morning.
Holy crap on a cracker. It's like I don't wake up on time to start the show yesterday, then I get 3 minutes into the show today and I get booted off by my own sound. It's like it takes 2 days to do one show.
Well, we'll get it. We'll get it together. We'll get it together. We want to give the kids, some entertainment, some information, some news. And yes, Linda, I'd like a cone of silence as well. That would be a wonderful thing to have on some days, I think. We're just talking about, I said, I was sending you a message via my shoe phone.
Oh.
And you have to be of a certain age to get that one, right?
And I have my moccasin cell.
Moccasin cell? Yeah.
Yes.
I'll put a link in the chat for the kids who aren't familiar with the original Get Smart series. Smart? Let me just.
It's like, oh yeah, hold on, I got another call coming. Hello?
Exactly. Exactly. I have call waiting. Yeah, call waiting before it was a thing. Here's a link to Get Smart in the chat. I just put that in there. And
missed it by this much.
That much. Missed it by that much. Written by Buck Henry. And here's a photo of the late Don Adams with his shoe phone right here. There he is. Boom. There he is on his shoe phone.
There you go.
It was a rotary dial, by the way. You pop the heel off and flip up the tab. There's the microphone and the rotary dial, as you can see. Yeah, the Maxwell Smart shoe phone from Get Smart. Stereo moccasins.
Okay. So what did I miss?
Well, I started talking about this woman who is out of her mind. I'll review it real quickly. This woman here, I talked about her. I read it out for the kids, but I'm going to have to reread it because the original feed is completely scrambled and shot and my recording stopped. So I'm just going to take this from a separate recording. My child's kindergarten teacher masked her behind my back today. I've made it clear we don't do masks. So if you're wondering how life in a blue state is, angry, red-faced, angry icon. And of course, the reply was, you people are so dramatic. 8 years ago, my friend's son went through cancer treatment. He wore a mask at school for 3 years. His classmates and teacher voted to wear one too, to make it easier on him. The parents were all in support. Everyone did great. Empathy and kindness prevailed. I feel for you, but masks may have actually hurt your child as they don't work, create a false sense of security. People send sick kids to school because masks and spread germs further because kids can't stop touching their faces. To which I responded with, according to PNAS, which is I got to look it up again. I just forgot how you call it. It's the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, a peer-reviewed journal of the National Academy of Sciences. And according to them, these are the folks who would know. According to them, mask wearing in community settings reduces SARS-CoV-2 transmission. So please tell me again how it doesn't work when an actual scientific study proves that it does. Somebody did say something to the woman in the Twitter thread about how maybe you'll tell surgeons not to wear a mask too. She goes, I'm fine with that. They might want to wear a mask in case something squirts out of my body during surgery. I'm like, oh, lady, you have been down the bias confirmation echo chamber of stupidity for so long, you can't even see the light of day anymore. Jeez. Masks work. It's been proven time and time again. And when somebody tells me masks don't work, I'm like, we're not having this conversation. We're not having this conversation.
It's not
because next you're going to tell me we didn't go to the moon and the earth is flat. I'm not speaking to people like that. I'm not engaging with them because they believe what they believe, will refuse to believe anything that can actually runs counter to their narrative, and won't listen to reason, logic, or science. So no, I'm not engaging with those people. They're ridiculous, and they're going to get people harmed. And that's what I hate to see. Although I did speak to Dean about it, and he says, no, let those people do that. They'll slowly remove themselves from the gene pool. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. But what my trouble is that these people procreate. These people have children, and then the children are left without parents, and then we have a bigger problem.
Yeah, you want to talk about grooming.
But they don't see it that way.
Yeah, no, they don't. No, they're raising their children. Everybody else is indoctrinating theirs or grooming them.
Yes.
But they're only raising their children. Yes. I don't know. I don't understand that either myself. It's like masks don't work. It's like,
But it's
clearly they do, Boo Boo Kitty. It's like, you don't want masks to work.
There's a difference, yeah.
Right? It's like we're doing this thing again where we're stating wishful thinking as a fact. This is what you need slash want slash wish slash were true for your narrative to stick. So you're stating your wishful thinking as a fact. It's not a fact.
Further down that rabbit hole of scientific ignorance, I'm only going to show maybe 30 or 40 seconds of this clip because it goes on for almost 5 minutes, and I can't handle this for more than a minute. But I just want to start it off with this so that you'll get an idea of how fascism is slowly taking over the United States of America, and it's creeping its way here into Canada as well via Skippy. This was shared from TFG, the former guy, his, I don't know, website. But here, just watch a couple of seconds of this video to get an understanding of where we are today with fascism in America. It's really, really just.
Our public schools have been taken over by the radical left maniacs. Here is my plan to save American education, restore power to American parents. First, we will cut federal funding for any school or program pushing critical race theory, gender ideology, or other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto our children. Not going to allow it to happen. Next, I will direct the Department of Justice and Education to open civil rights investigations into any school district that has engaged in race-based discrimination.
Oh, girl, you're not going to do any of that. You're going to jail.
I've had about enough of that. Like, I had to share that because it was like, are you kidding me? Cut funding for you teaches critical race theory. See, that's just blatant white supremacy and racism right there on the surface for all to see. He's not even hiding it anymore. They've been so emboldened over the last few years that they've come out of the shadows. So it's easy to spot them because they usually tend to tell you exactly who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, Kid Saucy said when we're talking about masks, my favorite is when they say it prevents your body from getting oxygen but doesn't stop transmission of viruses. I'm not a scientist, but I would assume that a molecule of oxygen is smaller than a virus.
Yeah, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. They refuse to believe anything that runs counter to their narrative.
If the smaller thing doesn't get through, how does the bigger thing?
I don't know. I can't explain it. And I've refused to try and bother to understand because the mental gymnastics one has to do to come up with this crap is just Simone Biles, the greatest gymnast that's ever lived and may very well be the greatest gymnast that ever lives. I mean, she's invented moves that they don't let her do in competition because nobody else can do them, which I think is wrong. Yep. I can do this, nobody else can. Shouldn't I be allowed to do it because I'm the greatest there is? Anyway, the mental gymnastics they have to do would have Simone Biles going, no, I'm going to try that one. No, not doing it. Not doing it. It's too much. Somebody will die. And that's what's going to happen. People are going to die because of ignorance, and ignorance is bliss, right?
Yep.
Is a brick smaller than a house?
Man. We have a little bit of good news from a friend of the pod.
Oh, and what might that be?
All right, I will put it up there. I just spotted this. I knew this was happening, but I didn't know it was today specifically. But it is today specifically. There you go, Mr. Grizzly. Please put it up.
Okay, just a second. There's our friend Bryson.
Bryson, friend of the pod. We did an interview. He was gracious enough to give us an interview about Indigenous allyship etiquette. We did a two-parter. It was before we joined the main network, so you'd have to look at our archives to find it. Very, very, very.
You got to move your cursor. It looks like you're picking his nose.
Oh, there you go. Let's clean that up for you. You are awful, man.
No, it was really troubling to me.
I understand
ADHD and OCD, man. I mean, like,
Oh darn! No! Oh darn! I lost it. Oh crap!
Curling beavers.
Yeah.
Go ahead
For
and get it
Groundhog
back
Day.
when you can.
But yeah, essentially, he's getting his darn.
Captaincy.
I lost it. Sorry. No. Yes, he does do some stuff on ships. He did
He's a
this
sailor.
wonderful trip this I think this past summer. We were doing something looking at the wreck of the Titanic or something. We'll have to
Oh,
get
really?
Yeah. He did this really, really interesting thing. But no, he is wearing his ribbon shirt under that jacket. You can see if you put it back up there, Mr. Grizzly.
Yeah, just a second.
Because
You should be able to
is
click on it and blow up the tweet itself, right? Can you not make it bigger?
well, that's what I tried to do, and then I lost the screen. There we go.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go. There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So yes, he's wearing his ribbon shirt right there, right underneath it, because he's going to his naming ceremony this afternoon.
Oh, cool.
Yes, he's going to get his Mi'kmaq name, I believe.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. So
Well done, Bryson.
Yes, I'm so happy for him. I don't know all the ins and outs of what that means, and what goes into that, because I am culturally ignorant. But I know enough to know that this is a freaking big deal. And it's an incredible honor.
Indeed.
So I'm happy for you, my friend. I hope the day is everything that you hope it would be. And apparently, if it's the same as 2 years ago, because I stumbled upon a tweet that came every now and then. There's a tweet of mine from the past that comes back to life every now and then. And if it's the same date, then the 31st was Mi'kmaq New Year.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So happy New Year.
Très cool.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping to hear and see photos from his naming ceremony afterwards, and I want to hear all about it, because that sounds like it's a pretty wicked thing to happen to someone.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's like the Cosa Nostra. He's now a made man. He's a made guy. I don't know. I shouldn't throw humor in there, but it's sort of an understanding for folks who don't quite fully get it. I think a lot of folks would be able to understand what that means. The significance of that. It's like you're now like fully accepted into your community as a prominent, strong, proud member.
I would assume that's what that would have to mean.
I would think.
Right? I'm not sure if it's like a level of eldership along the way.
I don't know.
Maybe?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just a dumb old Irish white guy. So, Irish, fifth generation Canadian. I'm Irish on St. Patrick's Day. And when I see a young lady who likes a fellow who drinks the pint of Guinness, I'll be very Irish. But the thing is this, you see, I'm as Irish as my made in Canada Japanese car. Well, and my Honda Civic was made in Alliston, Ontario, right? So that's why I say my made in Canada Japanese car.
Jeez. We're going to go back. I have some news on some stuff, catch up on some stuff that we had missed that sort of slipped through the cracks as we were pursuing other stories. But there's been some consequences from the Christmas storm that we have had. There were a whole bunch of other things that had happened that we didn't get to report on. So, for example, during the storm, there was a bridge in the Fraser Valley that had been closed, and then there was a bus crash that had unfortunately killed 4 on an extremely icy highway due to freezing rain on Highway 97C on a route between Kelowna and Merritt, BC. And it resulted in 53 people taken to 3 hospitals. Most were dismissed, but by the following morning, 7 were still in the hospital with 2 in serious condition. They had 2 successive storms afterwards with something called the King Tide out there. So that's pretty high waves, because after they had received all that snow, then they received some rain with the warming temperature, and then they had the snow melt as well that was happening. So all these things were contributing to flooding conditions in the province. So Environment Canada was saying that melting snow mixed with strong winds and high tides could cause damaging floods and storm surges. course, we had the problem with Via and Sunwing and Air Canada. And the things at Pearson Airport were made particularly worse because there was a broken luggage belt due to extreme cold temperatures. So basically the rubber snapped.
That happens.
For all intents and purposes, which didn't help with the baggage delays, right? Because some people got to their destinations late and then their luggage arrived 2 weeks
Didn't
after.
arrive or arrived,
Or
yeah.
didn't arrive at all.
Yeah. So they got it when they got home. Here's your luggage. Or the couple in Toronto, was it Toronto, whose luggage was lost, and then they had put the GPS tracking tags on it. Then they found it had been donated.
Yes. That's
It's
not
like,
a good look for the company.
Hey, Air Canada, maybe not donate somebody's luggage when they're waiting for it to be received from you that you lost 3 weeks, or was it 3 weeks or 3 months or whatever it was? It was a long time. Anyway,
Yeah. That happened to me sort of once. Not that my luggage got sold to charity, but I was going down to Mexico and my luggage did not arrive, and was 3 days late. And fortunately, because I had a credit card that had some bonus things, that I had like $500 in emergency funds to go buy clothes. Because being on the beach in Puerto Vallarta in winter boots and a ski jacket,
not comfortable.
Not a comfortable look.
Well, see, that's why I do not check luggage. I don't. I refuse to check luggage. I only take a rolling carry-on with a small satchel. I pack everything I need in there, and I'm good to go. And somebody says, "Well, what about when you get where you're going? What if you need more clothes?" Buy them.
Yeah. I'm one of those, unfortunately, one of those rainbow people who is born with the gene that made it impossible for me to pack light. However, I'm an extremely good folder and I get a lot into a small space.
All right.
My Beaver sweetie always has me pack for us because apparently I know how to fold stuff.
I'll take you at your word, good sir.
So thousands experienced delays and cancellations, and many were stuck in airports here and abroad. And WestJet and Sunwing in particular in Canada were affected. There were electrical outages all over the place, of course. And the city of Buffalo in upstate New York got hit particularly hard because their airport was still closed after Christmas, and there were more than two dozen dead in that city. And they actually had to call in FEMA to coordinate disaster relief efforts to save lives and avert the threat of further catastrophe. At one point, almost every fire truck in the city of Buffalo was stuck in the snow. That's how bad it got. They got 190 centimeters of snow during that storm.
A lot of snow.
There were over 17,000 cancellations at one point early in the storm, according to FlightWare, which tracks airline activity. Southwest Airlines in the States canceled at least 70% of its flights on one day due to a system meltdown afterwards, when that left crews and planes trapped in the wrong place. 60% of flights were affected. Over 16,000 flights were canceled during the holiday season by Southwest Airlines alone in the United States.
Wow.
Basically, the Transport Workers Union representative Lynn Montgomery said the phone systems that the company uses are just not working. Are working, but they're just not manned with enough manpower in order to give the scheduling changes to flight attendants. So basically, they were able to make the schedule changes and reroute the planes, but then they didn't have enough people at the call centers to call all the crews to tell them where to show up. That's how bad the system had broken down.
Well, they understaffed too, don't forget, and that's usually done because they don't want to pay people.
Yep. Oh, Kit Hugh, want to get rid of a body? Just check it into Air Canada baggage.
Yeah, I posted that.
I love going to the counter and going, I know I bought a ticket to Montreal, but could you send me to Hawaii and my bags to Montreal instead?
Has that ever worked?
No. Nobody's taking me up on that.
Worth a shot.
Yes. If you were traveling in the United States and did have a flight on Southwest as part of your travel plans. The company has apologized and set up a website where people can apply for refunds and reimbursements for things like food, accommodations, and alternate travel costs. Southwest is also offering 25,000 frequent flyer points worth about $300 as a gesture of goodwill to passengers that had flights delayed more than 3 hours or canceled between Christmas Eve and January 2nd. So if that's you, please make sure that you take some time to go to the Southwest site. Those will be given, those 25,000 points will be given over and above any refunds and reimbursements to which you are entitled. Southwest is facing multiple investigations, scrutiny from investors, and at least one lawsuit. In Canada, Sunwing's airline operations were heavily impacted by severe weather, with technical issues leaving staff scattered and customers left out of the loop regarding flight delays and reschedulings. Some were left in the dark for days on how they were going to get home. And most egregiously, the company had canceled all flights out of Regina and Saskatoon until February 3rd, which was today, because it was not able to arrange for extra pilots to deal with demand, saying passengers will receive a full refund. The pilots did not agree with that version.
No way.
Of the story. No, the pilot said that they were available to fly. Stranded Sunwing passengers are started to make their way home about a week later than planned, and Sunwing said that they were trying to hire foreign pilots for the winter, but couldn't. So a lack of staff and the winter storm forced cancellations, but they were not able to explain why Saskatchewan flights to both Regina and Saskatoon airports exclusively were cut. The storm's disruption of Sunwing's operations led to the company leaving thousands stranded. Most were home about a week later. Some spent thousands of dollars to fly on other airlines. Sunwing says impacted passengers can apply for compensation via its website. Some are exploring legal action, including a class action lawsuit. Travel expert Duncan Dees says, quote, "The airline has the responsibility to bring the traveler to where they are paid to go and to bring them back to where they started. And if Sunwing isn't able to do that, the federal government certainly has the powers under the legislation to ensure Sunwing complies." Omar Al-Gabra, the federal transport minister, is quoted as saying, there's a lot of things that came together, unfortunately, at the same time, certainly driven by the extreme weather events that took place in two different parts of the country, and the ramification that had on the air sector. But I think Sunwing itself had its own operational issues that unfortunately caused lots of frustrations for many of their customers, adding that Sunwing lacked slack in their operation, which led to frustrating incidents during the holiday travel, and that the lack of communication from the airline to the customers was, quote, unacceptable. The Liberal chair of the Transport Committee is the one, we mentioned this on a previous show, who called everybody to the committee together, and particularly to bring in people from Air Canada, Sunwing, and Via to explain what went wrong. Conservatives tried to take credit for that, but it is the Liberal chair of that committee who asked for all of them to come back and who got the minister to come to testify as well. And he agreed voluntarily and enthusiastically to come and testify. So it wasn't this kicking and screaming thing, the way the Conservatives are trying to spin it. Air Canada and WestJet passengers had been complaining of thousands of missing bags. The officer of the Minister of Transport had been in touch with airlines and airports and reminded Canadians that they can file a complaint with the Canadian Transportation Agency for all disruptions, including lost luggage. However, as we've mentioned several times on the show, the agency reported in November that it had a 30,000 complaint backlog. That's been increased up to about 33,000 according to last numbers we've had. And the government has, at that point in November, put $11 million towards reducing that backlog. Now, one of the reasons for which there's a backlog is because the rules, as they are currently, is that only the 8 members of the Canadian Transport Agency board, I guess, or there's a committee that does that specifically, were able to adjudicate those decisions. And it looks like there might be changes to the regulations coming that would allow lower level employees of the agency to make those decisions for themselves, particularly on more routine and standard type questions that would be easily solved in order to get people their refunds a little faster. The backlog and the chaos also prompted the federal transport minister to announce that he's looking at tightening up airline passenger protection rules in order to put greater onus on the airlines. When those passenger bill of rights rules came out, a lot of complaints, even from Duncan Nees, who we quoted earlier, who's really the expert. He basically looks at these plans from all around the world and, gives an assessment on, who's doing best on airline passenger rights and those types of things. The basic complaint was that the original rules that were put out didn't really have much teeth. It was sometimes in politics, often in politics, so we get this action for action's sake thing where government will announce a new policy or plan of some type to make it look like they're doing something, but really it doesn't do anything, but it gives the semblance of action and it calms the requests from the opposition to do something, especially when there's like nothing that can be done, but you still have to
Think of the
like you're doing
children.
oh, gee. Think of the children and the elderly. Oh.
Sex cauldron. I thought they tore that place down.
What?
Don't you remember Krusty the Clown, the burlesque house?
Oh, jeez.
Don't speak about SEX in front of the CHILDREN. Sex cauldron. I thought they tore that place down. Krusty the Clown.
Oops, sorry. Got a cough for a second.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Whoops.
There you go. So, yes, the main complaint was that the initial version of our rules didn't have much teeth. They had been strengthened already once or twice, and it looks like they're going to have to do it again. And maybe this time, finally, after this incident, there's going to be some actual
investigations,
bringing them in line, yes,
right.
and bringing them more in line with the passenger rights that as they happen in Europe, where a lot of these things are just routine, right? Like just yep, we screwed up. Here's your check, boom. Right, and there's no specific applications and all that type of stuff. So the airline passenger bill of rights lays out a standard of treatment that includes airlines providing up to $2,400 in compensation to passengers who had to be moved from an overbooked flight, and up to $2,100 for lost or damaged luggage. As we mentioned, regulations were recently updated in September to add another layer of responsibility, even for unforeseen situations where airlines should be refunding passengers even because of weather, stated Minister Algabra. So before the rules were only when situations were were in the control of the airline company, and then the airlines always found a reason to say, well, this was not under our control because, and then there would be a dispute, and then it would take months to resolve, and those 8 people on the panel had to resolve that. So in September, there was a recognition that there are situations even that have weather where it could still be the fault of the airline because they didn't plan their resources, for example. Because, I mean, this is Canada. It's not like we're not used to weather.
Yeah, we have it here frequently, like every year at this time,
Right.
Figure.
And you'd think that there would be some base protocols and base contingencies and plans for when we do have weather, because we do have it.
Well, kind of like the LRT in Ottawa that almost shut down completely yesterday because it was cold.
Right. I mean, it's just, I can understand that you don't necessarily have big contingencies if you get weather once every 5 or 6 years. You don't really, but when you get
Florida
weather
or Texas, right?
a year,
yeah. This is not. Oh, I can't believe it's so cold out. Really, in winter in Canada, this thing that we have every year, you can't believe it's that cold out today. Maybe you should reframe how you state it and go, "Wow, it's really cold out today." You need to believe it because it happens every year.
Right.
And if it stops happening, we have much bigger problems because much of the world will be underwater at that point, right?
Right. So as we were saying, previously airlines were only required to provide refunds if a flight disruption was within their control, but the new rules meant that even if the flight was disrupted by weather or outside circumstances, airlines would be required to provide a passenger affected by cancellation or a lengthy delay due to a situation outside the airline's control with a confirmed reservation on the next available flight that is operated by them or a partner airline, leaving within 48 hours of the departure time indicated on the passenger's original ticket. If the airline cannot provide a confirmed reservation within this 48-hour period, it is required to provide, at the passenger's choice, a refund or a rebooking, and that should be automatic. Not sure that happened. Sure that happened over the holidays. Currently, it's up to the passengers to make the request, and if the request is rejected, then to follow up with a complaint to the Canadian Transportation Agency, and then the agency must rule that the airline didn't apply the rule correctly. So the onus is on the passenger currently to prove all of that, right?
Yes, because we have so much spare time in our busy lives that we can do that.
Right.
Like, how much time does it take to plan a vacation to begin with, right? And if you're like me, you'll go on the websites every day and keep shopping for the cheapest flight you can get. Because I don't know if you've noticed, they've gone way the hell up since the end of shutdowns.
Yes.
Because the pandemic's still ongoing. But the flight costs have gone way up. Like, in some cases, doubled or tripled. So it's like, okay, they're just trying to make up for lost income. But didn't we subsidize them the whole time when they were not flying? Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. And here's the big problem. And I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here. So bear with me for a few minutes. It's not angry. It's based on fact. It's based on things that are actually happening. And I think we're headed for a 1929 style crash. And I say this because there are so many companies that manipulate the market by doing simple things like their senior VPs, CEOs, senior management get a performance basis, a performance pay based on a performance bonus pay based on stock performance. So what these companies will do is they will tank the stock before the end of the quarter and then buy back a whole bunch of shares as people are selling them. They will get the share price to drop. There's market manipulations that they can do this with, okay? And I'm not an economist I'm not that smart, but I do understand how a lot of things work. And the thing is this, what they will do is tank their own stock, buy a ton of it back, raising the price, getting their bonuses, because all they care about is shareholder return each quarter. The issue and the problem is they continue to do this. They slice and dice when it comes to personnel, pay, benefits, so on and so forth, because they have to return, they have to beat last year's returns. So if last year they had a 20% profit, this year it's got to be a 25% profit, and so on and so forth. And they keep bringing it up and up and up and up and up. And what happens is, as we saw at Christmas time, they cut to the bone on staff. They pay staff horribly. They treat them horribly. People are sick and coming into work because they don't have sick leave. And all it does is it makes these greedy assholes, because that's what they are, it makes them create a system that they're going to destroy. They're cutting off their own nose to spite their face. They're cutting out their own legs from underneath them. We are headed for a recession unlike anything we've seen since 1929 because of greed. And that's my morning rant.
I wish I had some organ music to play under that.
I'll arrange for that next time. But I mean, please, somebody in the chat, somebody on email, tell me if I'm way off base, because I've been watching the trends. I do pay attention to these things. And I've spoken to people in powerful positions in companies that have said, I agree with you. That's a problem. They continue to do this because they have to return a larger percentage each quarter. Well, eventually you're going to run out of profit, because once you're maxed out at 100%, then what? Right. And because slavery is not a thing that's actually legal, except we have a legalized version of it today. It's called the minimum wage. Mm-hmm. Because believe it or not, it is cheaper to pay somebody the current minimum wage than it would be to actually own a slave. I know that sounds terrible, but bear this out. You're not paying for their housing or their food or any medical coverage or any prescription drugs. You're giving them a not even a modest wage, a less than livable wage. And you usually try and keep them under 30 hours so they're not full time. This is a form of slavery, whether you realize it or not. Maybe they're not beating them with a whip, but they are held. They're handcuffed to the job because they have to keep a roof over their heads, and they're struggling to do it.
They didn't beat them with a whip, but they sure compacted them into the meat plants while people were coughing and dying. Sorry, I need to have some tea.
Yes.
Sorry.
And again, like I said, I'm not an economist. I'm not that smart, but I can see things. I can see where it's pointing. I see the direction things are going.
Yeah.
And you have doom and gloom everywhere, and greed is going to kill us. It's going to kill us.
Yes. I mean, and not to to bring a big dark cloud on the thing, because we like to be optimist people, but I mean, optimism without any realism is delusion.
Correct.
Right. The climate situation is not getting better before it gets worse.
Nope.
Right. So food supply chains, I remember, writing on my blog about 5-6 years ago that, we are going to have mass migration issues and asylum issues due to climate, with, riverbeds drying up and,
throughout Europe this past summer,
desertification and all that type of stuff. And people were laughing 5-10 years ago when people were saying, yeah, right.
And then it happened this past summer.
Right. We're seeing that they just predicted that within 5 years, the Great Salt Lake in the United States may be dry.
Wow.
There are rivers in Reno, like in Nevada, where the lake beds have dried up so much they are finding old cars and bodies.
Lake Havasu, just outside of Las Vegas, which was a man-made lake for a reservoir. They're found there. You can walk on the lake bed. Oh, look, there's a body. There's a body. There's a car. There's a boat. All kinds of stuff. So greed will kill us.
I have a feeling that we will find Jimmy Hoffa eventually.
Well, I like Linda's comment. It will kill us. It won't kill them, and that's all they care about.
Yes, because
You're
they'll
right.
have their self-sustained,
bunker,
hermetically sealed pods with fresh air, and we saw that at the World Economic Forum, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are sitting down like this, and they got their little thing with the HEPA filter next to them, and they all have their pre-testing things to go, and all the things that the business is saying, yeah, we need to cut that stuff up for people. Well, not like this. We don't need to pay that like this. They're all treating themselves to it though still.
Yeah, well, we're just human capital. We're cattle to them. We are serfs in a feudal state. Don't kid yourselves.
They're telling us we don't need them, but they're still using them on themselves.
Yeah. Oh, you don't need this, but I'm just going to, as a precaution, I'll hang on to it. But you don't need it. You don't need it. You'll be fine. Where have I heard that?
Yeah, exactly. I need to make a note. Somebody make a note to. Although last time I asked somebody to make a note to tell me to remind something about alcohol, and I still don't remember what it is that thing I wanted to say about alcohol.
Because they went for a drink. They went for a drink instead.
But yes, there are, just quick mention, the US and the UK have both announced that they are going to cut back on their COVID funding stuff. Like the United States is going to stop, declare the state of emergency and the public health state of emergency over, which will stop funding for testing and those types of things. They're going to try to still keep funding vaccines. But again, we're just taking away another layer again, as cases are rising in China, as it's just I understand that this is the thing, is if things aren't very bad in one region, then you start taking away your genetic sequencing testing and taking away eventually, if another wave hits, then you don't have the resources there because you've pulled them.
Right.
So you've stopped collecting the data. So it was and the UK is about to make a similar declaration as well. So that's on those things, but that's a whole other subject. So as we were mentioning about the storms and the airline passengers and things, it's up to the passengers to make the request, and if rejected, you follow up with a complaint to the Canadian Transportation Agency, and then the agency must rule that the airline didn't apply the rule correctly, which puts the onus on you as the passenger. And as you're asking, who has time to do that? And if you're considering the typical person, as we always say, married with 2.4 children and a mortgage, or rent to make and a pet, working unpaid overtime probably, stuck in an hour commute on the way there and an hour commute on the way back, you got no time. That's one of the reasons for which we're doing this show, for example, because you don't necessarily have time to keep track of everything that's going on, ins and outs and back doors and behind in the hallways of politics. So I listen to all of this, and I try to distill it down so that you, who are busy living your life and taking care of your children, taking care of yourself, taking care of your parents, sometimes taking care of all three at the same time, children's and parents and yourself, you don't have time like this, but you still want to be informed.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on. There's a big world.
Well, here's regarding COVID from Ellen. H5N1 is the next threat, and apparently that is a very high mortality rate of 59%, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to double check the facts to get that correct, but it's a very high mortality rate. So it's like we're getting threats from all over. So, again, we're optimistic, but we're also realists.
Right.
So let's try and smile and be as happy as we can be, considering this current state of the world.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm going to get a coffee. I'll be right back.
All right. Proposed changes to the passengers' bills of rights are to make it easier for staff to make routine decisions, as we mentioned, to place the cost of adjudicating decisions onto the airlines themselves as a matter of incentivizing them to take action, thus increasing the funding to the agency. I like that second one, to place the cost of adjudicating decisions onto the airlines themselves as a matter of incentivizing them. If you have to pay for the adjudication, then you probably won't fight every single claim. You'll be a little more judicious about the ones you decide to challenge. The Commons Transit Committee had heard from VIA when they came in to testify that the situation of a train being stranded for 18 hours was an outlier. The chief of customer service for VIA stated in his testimony, given the protracted delay, given the lack of clear information that we were able to garner, we heard there was misinformation we offered the passengers. We exacerbated the level of anxiety of those passengers on board, and that's on us for not properly and clearly communicating what we are doing and reassuring them. Now, this is very, very nice that you hear these types of statements, yes, but they don't mean much if they don't have a policy follow through. The mea culpa, my bad. I mean, some companies don't even do that. So, I mean, already there, that's not so bad. But just like an apology, if somebody apologizes, but then goes back and repeats the offending behavior, then the apology means nothing. So here, okay, you've taken ownership, but unless you're going to make some policy decisions and some corporate changes, then the taking ownership means nothing. Other things that managed things that were like revealed in the committee that had happened is, for example, some of the airports had run out of de-icer fluid.
Oh, great!
Again, not sure how that happens in a country where you have weather. They had all the baggage fiascos. Some actually just ran out of fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Can't take off. And whereas the passenger bills of rights does apply to airline travel, it does not apply to federally regulated rail travel yet. So that might be something that will be added into the bill in order to cover rail as well.
There you go. 59% is the number for H1, H5, what is it? H5N1, whatever it is,
59% of what?
Mortality rate.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay. No, it's sky high. It's sky high.
Sky high.
Oh, good morning, Pete. I guess, yeah, it's morning there because it's after midnight, right? So it would be morning.
I believe so, yes. Yeah. Good morning, Kit Pete. Lovely to see you. Good morning, Kit Ellen Humphrey. Thank you for joining us today. It was so lovely to see you as well. Starting February, Sunwing then canceled the majority of its flight. So flights were canceled out of Regina and Saskatoon up until the 3rd originally. And then they announced that they were canceling the majority of its flights out of Regina starting February 4th. So that has been extended for the remainder of the winter travel season.
Ouch.
And they still cannot explain why specifically Saskatchewan and nowhere else. Some family day weekend departures will go as planned. Option to transfer to departures from other airports. So they're going to offer people the option to transfer to departures from other airports, I guess like Winnipeg or Calgary.
When is family day? I have to work it, so it doesn't make a difference to me.
It's the third Monday in February, is it, or second?
I thought it was the second. Either I got to work.
Yes, second Monday in February. Second Monday in February. Yes,
because I work. I'm my employer. Everybody gets it off in Ontario for the company that I work for, but because I'm tasked out to a Crown Corp,
right?
I'm still private sector, but I work for a Crown Corp, so I have to work.
Yeah, indeed. And Sunwing then proceeded to over the days to cancel additional flights out of Halifax, Fredericton, Moncton, Sudbury, and North Bay. Yeah, not the best. Not the best. Yes. And then, of course, there was more testimony over the course of those weeks. I'm not sure what's really going to come out of it. I'm not sure really what the committee found out. I mean, the problems seem to be rather obvious. I mean, it was a logistical nightmare, yes, and there wasn't enough planning, and there wasn't enough contingency and built-in redundancy. Like I said, the lack of slack in the system. You have to build some slack in the system in case something goes wrong somewhere that you can pull from somewhere. The company that Sunwing that was looking at hiring the foreign pilots, apparently they found out a decent amount of time. I would say a decent amount of time beforehand that they were not going to get those pilots. I believe they were applying. There was pilots applying on temporary foreign work visas to come and help, and they were told in early December, I believe, that those applications were not going to be approved. And rather than canceling some flights at that time or rerouting some things, they basically tried to change the schedules to make the limited amount of pilots that they had still be able to deliver all the flights. That's where they lost the slack in the system.
Mm-hmm.
One flight just needs to be delayed 2-3 hours, and that can, it affects the next flight and the next flight, and and then, if a crew has done more than its 8 hours or whatnot, then that crew cannot, because of union rules, go to the next flight, and then they got to find another crew and bring in, and then there's more delays, and so, and then it snowballs. It can snowball very, very, very quickly.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure what happens after this. What could be the possible next steps? It's been a mess for a while now. With as we mentioned before, at the passport, at least outside of the airports, at the passports, things have been resolved. They're back to service within 10 days and all of that. And we had Minister Karina Gold come out and make that announcement. And I really like her. She doesn't get enough airtime, and I know she's with families and children and that type of stuff, and
right,
that minister typically doesn't get a lot of airtime anyway, because there's always a minister of health above and beyond. There's always a minister of justice above and beyond, whatnot, that can talk to all to other issues regarding families and children and community development and stuff. But she's very good, and she's a very effective speaker. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a cabinet shuffle at some point along the way that she gets a promotion up.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get to see a lot of her, and she's just, there's something about her. There's a warmth about her and a kindness about her when she speaks that's very appealing. Because she just, I watch clips when she does them, and she gets there and she just she smiles, goes, "Hi," and she starts talking, and there's just like, yeah, okay, I want to hear what you have to say. She sounds like a person that I know it doesn't matter in politics. They keep on that beer test, who's someone you want to have a beer with. I would love to have a dinner with this. I think it would be a very, very wonderful evening of just, very stimulating conversation and good company. She seems like a decent person. I just get a good vibe off her. Do you have anything for us, Mr. Grizzly? That's about all I think I have noted on the storm thing. Oh, there was one thing I did note, however, that wasn't related to us, but apparently while we were going through our stuff, there was stuff similarly going on in Japan. They had been
Oh,
having
yeah.
really bad weather from early December, and while we were having the worst of our storm over there, apparently there was an senior citizen lady, I believe she was in her 70s, walking down the street. And you know how sometimes there's lots of snow that accumulates on a roof and then it just slides off?
Mm. She got buried, did
Apparently,
she?
there was about 2 feet of accumulation of snow on some roofs when she was passing by, and it just fell off, and she got crushed under it and died.
Wow. Well, that's tragic.
Yeah.
That's truly
So,
tragic.
yeah. And it's like, and while we were getting all of that, then California was getting more rain in like 3 days than it had caught in the last 3 years.
Mm. Yeah.
So,
Well,
the
they've been
ground
under
couldn't
drought for
absorb it
so
all.
long.
Right.
Yeah, because it was baked like cement at that point, right?
Right. Right. So it's just, oh, weather. And I'm
My
starting
God,
to
it's
think,
everywhere.
I know, but I'm starting to think, it's like, it's almost like a matter of time. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when
It's
each and every
when.
one
It's
of us
when.
is going to be
Yeah.
hit by some weather event that is going to damage our homes in some way. I know it sounds gloomy and dark, but it's it just seems at this time that's it's going to be it's just going to happen eventually.
Yeah. Not
Everybody's
much
just
we
going
can
to
do
have to
about it.
prepare for at least once in their life having to start over.
So I came across this the other day, this quote. I came across it online, and it's a quote from a song written in the 70s. And it was a big hit song by a band that one particular record, I think all of us at one point in time in the 70s had in somebody's wood-paneled basement. And it's not Peter Frampton, Frampton Comes Alive. Everybody had that one too. That was issued in the suburbs like boxes of Tide that used to show up in the mail. But this was from a young fellow who said, somebody said, we want to go back to the 70s when people weren't so woke and stupid and weren't trying to do all these crazy left-wing stupid things. And the guy says, let's go back to the 70s. And here's a quotation from a famous song by the Steve Miller Band. I want to feed the babies who can't get enough to eat. I want to shoe the children with no shoes on their feet. I want to house the people living in the street. Oh, yeah, there's a solution. Let me fly like an eagle to the sea, fly like an eagle. Let that spirit carry me. I want to fly. Oh, yeah, fly right into the future. So, wokeness has been around for a very long time, friends. That is a great lyric too. And I want to feed the babies who can't get enough to eat, shoe the children who with no shoes on their feet, house the people living in the street. Oh yeah, there's a solution. There is. It's stop being greedy assholes. Simple as that. There is no need for poverty to exist. Money is a concept that was developed to control us. Money isn't real. You can't eat it. I mean, look, we're the only species that lives on this planet that pays to live here. Right? Now, am I saying we should be hunter-gatherers? No, but come on. There's got to be a better way. Is it going to happen in our lifetime? No. No, it's not going to. But someday money will be gone if there's still a planet and still people, that is. Mm-hmm. Because eventually it's not going to make any sense. When all the jobs disappear to AI and bots, and it is going to happen. When, I don't know, but we're seeing the erosion, like coal miners and oil field workers. Their jobs are being taken away by automation. Truckers will soon be starting to lose their job as big companies don't want to pay people when they can buy an automated truck to do the long haul from Toronto to Ottawa or whatever the case may be. Now, you might have a local guy who will get in the truck and deliver it, but it'll show up at a big Amazon-type warehouse, like their fulfillment centers, which are gigantic. There's 2 of them here in Ottawa, and they're massive buildings.
Right.
One in the East End, one in the Est. They'll drive the truck to there, and then maybe they'll have a delivery driver from there to drop off the goods, or maybe what'll really happen is they'll have an automated system that will deliver the goods to you and have a bot that will carry it to your front door. Do you think I'm being ridiculous? They're already working on this crap. These jobs that exist right now to do this will be gone in 10 years' time.
Oh,
Mark my words. Mark my words. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's happening. The technology exists. It's here. It's real. what are we going to do? UBI. That's the solution.
Yeah.
Like I said many times before, my buddy who writes code says in 5 years he won't have a job. He's retiring in 2, so it doesn't matter. But he says in 5 years my job won't exist because of the machine learning that we are coding right now. They will write their own software. AI writes its own software.
And that would probably be true for what I was doing in translation.
Oh yes, yeah, because it's getting better all the time, right?
Yeah.
It's rapidly improving, and some of the GP, was it GP Chat or Chat GP or whatever it is?
Yeah.
You can put it. You can go to that and say, "Listen, write me up a resume on this person. This is the person's name." It'll go in and it'll find the person, find their qualifications, write the resume, and it'll be better than anything you could ever write because it will find things that you've completely forgotten about. So it's happening right now. And a lot of the automated voice message systems that you meet, you're not even talking to a person. You're talking to an AI chatbot, and they're good, and they're believable. So if we don't get a UBI soon, we're going to have big, big problems. And I don't want to hear one more a-hole tell me people don't want to work anymore. It's not the case. People don't want to work for shit wages under terrible conditions. That's what people don't want to do. People don't want to be abused. People want to have a quality of life. They want to join the middle class. And that's not asking much. It's not. Just want to be able to, live a good life. Everybody has their different opinion on what a good life is, but what am I to say? My life's pretty good, but I'm broke as shit.
I hear you, friend.
Well, I mean, the money, the money I lost during the shutdown and then the subsequent restart, I will never regain. I mean, a couple of months off work, and then 6 months we were back at work at 80% wages with no vehicle allowance. I had to get it. I need a vehicle for my job. I don't now, but I did then. So I had to lease a new vehicle because my old vehicle died. So I leased a new vehicle on January 30th of 2020, and then the world shut down. I still have to pay for it. So, once I can eliminate that expense, life will improve for me dramatically. But that's just how it goes sometimes. You got to do what you got to do to keep earning enough money to not starve and live in the street.
Yep.
It's tough. It's a tough world out there, but don't worry. Be happy.
Yes. Well, you got to make lemonade, right?
Yeah, well, that's my buddy has a sign on his wall. It says, when life gives you lemons, hey, keep them. Free lemons.
Right.
Have you seen the price of lemons?
Right. Jeez. Couple of updates on quick updates, just various little facts and things that I picked up on some stories that we've covered lately, just to let you know how things have progressed. With regard, or just additional details to fill in some blanks and add some color and texture. We talked a couple of weeks ago about the Prime Minister making a visit to Saskatchewan and deciding that he was not going to let Premier Mo know that he was going to show up to make a really, really big important announcement with regard to critical minerals. Scott Moe was quoted as saying in response to this, it isn't a personal slight in any way that is bothersome to me. What's bothersome to me and why I'm disappointed is there's a real opportunity today, I think, to have a very brief conversation about what is attracting investments like vital metals to Saskatoon. A very brief conversation. Okay. Seriously, it's like, why would you go to the media and say, I'm disappointed because we did not have an opportunity to have a very brief conversation about what is attracting investments like vital metals?
Pick up the phone.
And it's like, he's going to be there like for the whole morning or 3/4 of the day is like this, right? Like to have a full-throated discussion, to have an impassioned, to have to dive down deep. It's like, I missed an opportunity to have a very pick up a frickin' phone.
always the victim, and they call me the snowflake.
Jeez. Apparently, Scott Moe found out in the papers that the Prime Minister had been there.
Oh, oopsie.
Do you know how hard it is to keep something secret in government?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I do. Damn near impossible.
Apparently, afterwards, there was a phone call from the Prime Minister's office by which Mo got an apology. I like spicy and saucy Trudeau. And I believe it was the day after that Scott Moe then came to the cameras and said that, maybe those conditions on that health deal wouldn't be such a bad thing. Of course, they're having a meeting on that health thing on the 7th, at which the Prime Minister is going to be. Now, originally, when they were talking about that, they were saying that they needed to have a meeting, but it wasn't very clear that the Prime Minister was going to be there because, and the Prime Minister said this, apparently it was very well understood and very clearly stated to all the premiers that the Prime Minister would only come to a meeting with all the premiers on health if a deal was at hand or if it was going to be something serious where work was actually going to get done. So if it was for him to come down to a room at the Palm View Motel,
That's a good one. You got me. My mouth was open.
He was not going to show up for that one. So it looks like he is going to come to that one. So now he's tempering expectations. Don't expect an actual full deal to be announced at this one. But it looks like they've made enough serious progress that they are actually going to be having an actual working meeting on this one. So there you go. Let's see what happens from that. Tidbit of interesting news. The Church of England will now allow its clergy to bless same-sex marriages.
What took them so long?
But we're still in a little bit of separate, but not exactly equal. Marriage ceremonies still cannot be performed within the church building. So your union can be blessed, but you still can't have the marriage ceremony in the church.
Do we need to remind them we're in the 21st century and that love is love? Do we need to remind them?
Yeah.
Do I have to put on my blue jacket and take it to the streets? Because Jesus Christ, people.
But in one way, yes, and in another way, it's a step, right? It's like it's one of those things, right? If somebody's willing to make a step, if you take the outstretched hand and you just slap them and say not good enough,
you know what? I completely agree. I completely agree. I'm tired. I'm
tired too because back in the day, I remember when we were talking about civil unions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, you don't need marriage. We'll just do civil unions. So we'll call it something else, and we'll have a couple of things that are different to make it so it's not exactly the same. But that should do you.
Well,
right?
I heard people with
and it's like, and some people were okay at first. You know what? It's a
Mm-hmm.
step. We'll take civil unions, and then we'll go from there. And then some countries did that, and then they got marriage and like this. But it was like, but the original intent was probably to say, you know what? They're really not going to stop asking for this, so let's create this thing that's not exactly like this, but something like this, so that we can still have this, and they're not going to take it from us.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things, like, you're right. They've offered you this. Don't slap the hand away. I completely agree.
It's more than what you had.
But it is frustrating because
but it's not equality.
No, it's not equality. No freedom till we're equal, right? Damn right, I support it.
It's more equal, but it's not equal.
It's not equal. And I couldn't understand the people who got bent out of shape going like, well, we don't want to call it a marriage because that's an infringement upon what? On what? Your marriage? Maybe your marriage is a little fragile if you can't handle two people of the same sex getting married. If you feel that is a threat...
Anybody else getting married anywhere in the world under any circumstances or conditions has no bearing on yours.
None. Zero. And then, of course, the other mic, what's next? They're going to marry animals? Yes, because that's clearly the next step. Jesus Christ, people.
Yes, that's clearly what we've been asking for all along, right?
All along.
Same-sex marriage is just the gateway drug to be able, to propose to Fifi.
Fucking people.
Hey. Other news in the category of Joan Crawford's dead. Good. Diamond and Silk. You know them? Or
Yeah,
as I
yeah,
call them.
that was a while ago.
Yeah, as I call them, cubic zirconia and polyester.
Yes.
Well, one of
Sisters.
the two sisters, yeah, one of the two passed away.
Mhm.
Diamond.
From COVID.
Yes. Well, is it from COVID?
Yeah, no, it was COVID.
It was
She
COVID?
well, she was never vaccinated and she had COVID. She was hospitalized for quite some time and died at home.
But did they say that she had COVID?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I thought they were calling it something else.
No.
So apparently she passed away, and apparently they invited former President Pumpkinhead to the funeral, and apparently he delivered the eulogy. And apparently, well, not apparently, he did during the eulogy.
I've never been online before, but apparently sometimes I don't watch the news because I'm a kid, and apparently every time Grandpa just gives me a remote after we watch the Powerball.
Apparently.
Apparently Trump was at the funeral, and apparently he was giving the eulogy, and apparently during the eulogy he said, "I knew Diamond, but I didn't know Silk at all."
Who was standing right beside him, and there's photos of them together. Several photos of them together.
It's like where there is
they're never
Diamond,
apart.
there is Silk.
Now, which one of those? So the TFG, the former guy, is always saying, "Sleepy Joe, who's got he's going senile." I'm like, dude, you said you didn't meet this woman. That we have lots of photos of you with her. The two of them were never apart. I think your faculties may be slipping away too.
How do you talk about two people who are literally joined at the hip? Everywhere one goes, the other one is there. And it's like you're sitting, it's like, yeah. I was like, okay, there's a person here, there's a person here. It's like, hi, I'm having a conversation only with you for the next 5 years, and you I don't know at all.
Yeah.
Freaking reality. And could you imagine being Silk at the funeral? Like everybody's there, it's all a funeral, and it's like I was like, oh yeah, your sister, she was wonderful, and she contributed and everything, and she did all these
Never
good
met
stuff.
you.
Never met you. Don't know who the fuck you are. It's like, I mean, it's like, oh my god, and you know that she's just going to come back out like this and still shill for him rather than saying, "You motherfucker."
Of course.
Oh man. Another thing you probably heard in the news, also in the United States, about a school shooting in Newport where there was a 6-year-old, apparently, who came to school with a gun and shot his teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happened.
Yes. School administrators, it seems, were warned 3 times during that day about the presence of the gun. Pardon, sir? Sorry, you froze.
That this was going to happen, right? They knew.
Well, not that this was going to happen, but that there was a child at school with a gun. Because the child had shown it to another student and threatened that student.
Right.
If you tell, I will kill you. And that student did tell. So the student saw something, said something, and then this is what the adults did. The adults heard about the presence of the gun at 11:15 in the morning, about an hour later, and then at around 1 p.m. Right? The child told the teacher that the gun had been shown to them. They'd been threatened if they told. Someone volunteered to actually check out the situation and came back with a report that nobody should worry about it because it's close to the end of the school day, and let's not make a case about it. And then the kid got into some type of argument with one of the teacher and then pulled out the gun and shot, and then she put her hand out and the bullet apparently went through her hand and into her chest. So shades of Uvalde. The adults knew, the adults were warned, the adults knew that something was coming, and then they did nothing.
Tots and pears.
People. In the United States, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, has voted to make the bivalent COVID booster the default vaccine. I don't know if similar decisions coming from Health Canada. I would suppose that it is. So the basically original vaccine is going to be slowly retired and replaced with the bivalent booster, because it already has everything from the original vaccine and then the bivalent one for the Omicron variant. So basically the original ones are essentially obsolete at the moment. We spoke
here. Did you hear this? Medicago down.
Yes, Medicago. Medicago was the vaccine, the Quebec-based company that had come up with a plant-based vaccine that you keep on asking me if it was vegan, and I still
Was it vegan?
Still haven't been able to certify that. But we're not able to get approval from the World Health Organization to have it distributed internationally because it had an association with Philip Morris Tobacco Company and the World Health Organization. Pardon, Mr. Grizzly?
Cigarette manufacturer.
Yeah, cigarette manufacturer. And the World Health Organization has a standing policy of not accepting any help whatsoever with regard to health from cigarette manufacturing companies. And therefore, we're requiring that Medicago stop its association with Philip Morris in order to approve the vaccine. A couple of months ago, Philip Morris did announce, and Medicago together had announced, that Philip Morris had divested itself from Medicago. So it looked like this vaccine was about to go ahead, but it seems that Medicago now has
ceased operations. Well, it's Mitsubishi owns them. They're the parent company. It's Mitsubishi Pharmacy or something like that. It's a pharmacological drug company and a branch of Mitsubishi, the Japanese company, that you think, oh, yeah, electronics, TV. They also make backhoes and drilling material and drag lines. And at one point in time, Mitsubishi was the largest company in the world. It no longer is, but it's still a very big company. The electronics wing for consumer electronics is like, that's a microcosm of the company. They're a very big corporation.
Yeah. So Medicago divested at the end of December. So December 29th is when it made the news that Philip Morris International had divested all its shares of Medicago, which would allow the Cofivens to reach international markets. And as I'm looking through, I'm trying to find an article that says why it is that Medicago will plan to vaccine. Its sole shareholder decided to no longer invest in the company, which was Japan's based Mitsubishi Chemical Group, as you mentioned, Mr. Grizzly. Decided to, quote, proceed with an orderly wind-up of its business operations in Canada and the United States. Medicago announced the group would be ceasing all operations at the company. The Medicago team has pushed scientific boundaries, and we know that they will continue to make incredible contributions to innovation in the and biopharmaceutical sector, the company said in a statement. Spokesperson confirmed to Global News the shutdown will affect 586 jobs in Quebec. Medicago's Cofivens shot was the first Canadian-developed COVID-19 vaccine to be approved for use by Health Canada in February of last year. The vaccine also marked the world's first ever plant-based jab authorized for human use, and was also the first Canadian vaccine of any kind to be approved in over 20 years. Wow. That part I did not know.
Not surprised, though, because Brian Mulroney sold off our remaining vaccine manufacturing facilities, right?
Right.
Because there was no profit in it.
Right.
That was really the reason they sold it. Well, it's costing us money. There's no profit in it. Yeah, some things cost money. There's not a profit to be made on every single thing. Why can't people understand that?
Yeah.
Some things you do because you have to do them.
Right.
There was no profit in sending man to the moon, but they did it anyway.
Yeah. Medicago is.
Please tell me, like, why don't people seem to understand that concept? Some things are not meant to be profitable.
Yeah.
Period.
Medicago states that the economic context for the COVID-19 vaccine and the challenges Medicago faces in its transition to commercial production as being some of the reasons that it is pulling its funding. The group considered it unviable to continue investing in the commercialization of Medicago's development products, and therefore chose to terminate all its activities with Medicago and proceed with an orderly dissolution of its business and activities. The group is also reviewing the impact the decision will have. The director of the Mitsubishi Chemical Group said in an email to Global News that the development of the Cofivence vaccine will be discontinued entirely. In addition, the construction of a new 90,000 square meter facility and headquarters in Quebec City will be stopped, and appropriate arrangements, including the property sale, will be considered in the winding down process. In 2020, Medicago had received $173 million from the federal government for facility construction and research and development of the vaccine. Laurie Bouchard, a spokesperson for the Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry, François-Philippe Champagne, said that the government is disappointed. Quote, recognizing the impacts this decision will have on their employees, we continue to be in discussion with the government of Quebec to assess next steps. Medicago's contribution to Canada's biomanufacturing and life sciences ecosystem is important because of their innovative plant-based vaccine technology. So hopefully there will be people within the government of Canada that will try to find a way to at least keep the technological benefit of some kind.
Otherwise, we'll get another brain drain.
Yeah.
And they'll get siphoned off to another country that's willing to pay them more money. And I'm thinking, which country might that be? Which country would be?
Whatever. It's a short list. Because this is a very innovative technology. And it could probably be used for many other types of vaccines. Minister of Health, Jean-Yves Duclos, stated, our first thought is for the workers in the region and their families. My Canadian government colleagues and I will work with the government of Quebec and economic leaders in the region, particularly those in the life sciences, to protect Canada's interests and those of the workers and to identify options for the future. Additionally, he said his constituency team will also be at the service of workers from Medicago for any type of assistance they may wish to seek from the Canadian government. And Quebec's Minister of Infrastructure, Jonathan Julien, said his thoughts are with the employees and their families who are experiencing the sad consequences of this news. This scientific expertise that Medicago has built up is invaluable, and I am confident that the know-how of the staff will quickly find its place in Quebec. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. That breaks my heart.
Yeah, I've it's not profitable, so let's get rid of it. That's what it boils down to, right?
Yeah. The need is not.
What did I say earlier? If they can't increase their margin every quarter, cut to the bone. So now people are unemployed because they weren't turning enough of a profit, because the shareholders got angry that they weren't getting a large dividend check every quarter. So let's just cut that whole division. Almost 600 people out of work. Yeah, whatever. They'll get a package out and they'll be fine. They're smart people. They'll land on their feet. Yeah. It's probably true for some, not for all. Some people won't land on their feet because they will suffer mental health issues, because all of a sudden their reason for being doesn't exist anymore. There will be few people that will happen to. I know. I've been there. When you suddenly find yourself unemployed, it can be a real kick in the teeth to your mental health.
Yes, it does. It really affects the self-worth.
It does.
Indeed.
And I mean, there's some people that their only identity is what they do. Me, well, whatever. I do what I do. My identity is other things. But some people only identify with what they do. And you can make a comment on whether that's healthy or unhealthy or whatever the case may be. I'm not going to debate that. I'm talking about how these people are going to suffer because all of a sudden they don't have a job. Microsoft's laid off 10,000 people. Google laid off several thousand people. Amazon's laying off people left, right, and center. And all of it has to do with, well, our profit margin's down. Well, guess what? What?
Well, it's not only profit margin being down, is that they overestimated what the future was going to require. And they just went slap happy on hiring, and now they got to pull the rug out of under people who thought that they had some security.
Well, but they say it's time to tighten our belts. Except who's not tightening the belts?
Right.
CEOs and senior management. They never tighten the belt. They tighten your belt.
Yes.
I still got to get my quarterly bonus. Greed will kill us all.
Man, I tell you, there's this song by the Pet Shop Boys on their album Alternative.
West End Girls?
On their album Alternative. called "What
Okay.
Keeps Kind of Alive." It's one of those albums where they do a retrospective of some of their songs and then put some remix versions of that type of stuff, and then some some versions of songs that weren't released. But it's a song from the Pet Shop Boys called "What Keeps Mankind Alive," and it's based on Bertolt Brecht poem, and I believe Tom Waits had done a version of it earlier. But this one is sort of like a how would I put it? A more dancey techno version because it's Pet Shop
Okay.
Boys, right? But it's you gentlemen who think you have a mission to purge us of the 7 deadly sins should first sort out the basic food position, then start your preaching. That's where it begins. And the chorus goes, what keeps mankind alive? The fact that millions are daily tortured, stifled, punished, silenced, oppressed. Mankind can keep alive thanks to its brilliance at keeping its humanity repressed. For once, you must not try to shirk the facts. Mankind is kept alive by bestial acts. And this is why we have poetry kits, because in very few words, you can deliver a punch right to the mouth. Okay, a couple of other quick updates before we close up, because we're getting to the end of our show, kits. If you heard this, I'm not sure if this is a Canada thing as well, because the Girl Guide system and Brownie system is worldwide. But it seems that the Brownies have changed their names because they were looking at it because they thought it might make the organization unwelcoming to people of certain races. Because, if you call yourself Brownies, being brown myself, I kind of see where that could probably be an issue. So apparently the 2 names that were considered were Embers and Comets, and they have decided to settle on Embers. So now Brownies are Embers. There you go.
Oh, that's
now
cool.
You know.
Yeah. And you see all the white men who the old white men who got butthurt about changing the name. I'm like, unless you're a young girl, this is no concern to you,
right?
Shut your pie hole.
George Santos, our favorite liar, if that's your real name, sir. Apparently, Kevin McCarthy had appointed him to, as we had a good laugh at this, to the Small Business Committee and Science Committees, House Committees, and pulled Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell from the House Intelligence Committee because they weren't honest enough. It seems that Kevin McCarthy and George Santos had a little meeting in which, the story goes, George Santos agreed to no longer sit on those committees. He's been pulled from the 2 because we found out other things. Apparently, he might also have some criminal issues with the Federal Elections Committee. Apparently, when he was filing his receipts, the rules are that receipts over $200 need to be filed, and apparently he's filed something like 40 receipts for $199.99.
Oh, so he's trying to skirt the rules.
They kind of noticed that over half of the receipts they submitted were for $199. It's like, you got to be subtle about this thing, biatch. It's like... and apparently he's changed his attestation when he did his Federal Election Commission filings, because apparently there was like $750,000 or a certain amount of money that was transferred into his campaign, and he said he financed it himself, even though he never really had a job that paid him over $55,000 a year prior to that. It seems that some of that money may have come from RUSSIA. So, yeah.
What's that now?
Russia.
RUISSA. I didn't hear the R. I just heard USSI. I'm like, I don't know what that USA?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Oh, I thought it was an acronym. Russia.
So apparently there's a person in the United States that gave him this money, and this person is the brother of someone in Russia who's very famous, and it seems that that person in the United States, number one place where they invest is in his own brother's company. See how that works? So he filed some documents to the Federal Election Committee saying that 2 loans, one of $500,000 and one of $125,000, did come from his personal funds. Apparently, he revised those documents to now say they did not come from his personal funds.
Okay.
And when asked about where the money comes from, so he's asked, where does the money come from? And instead of saying where the money comes from, says, oh, we'll tell you where the money doesn't come from. It doesn't come from China. And it doesn't come from Burisma. And it doesn't. So, yeah, but the question was, where does the money come from? Mr. Too Cute by half.
Yeah.
You're about to lose your job. You're about to lose your job. Break it down now. You're about to lose your job. He going to jail too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about the price of eggs recently. A little fact. Apparently, 41 of the 60 million birds that have been culled because of the bird flu are egg-laying hens. That might be explaining why there's a shortage of eggs and the prices went up. And finally, we also mentioned the changes in the drinking guidelines. And just so you know, while the Conservatives are losing their mind, the guidelines come with recommendations for standard labeling to help people count their drinks, because what's a standard drink?
Well, to me, it would be a 20-ounce pint of beer, but that's not necessarily the case. It's usually a unit.
How many standard drinks are in a 20-ounce pint of beer?
Yeah, that would be 2, I believe, would it not?
I don't know. That's the whole thing. We don't know.
I think that's what the unit is, 10 ounces or 250
Alcohol is one of the few things in this country that doesn't require any nutritional labeling.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to change that too.
That's in the recommendations as well, to include like calorie counts and how many standard servings are in this bottle of wine or in this tall boy of beer or in this. So that
8 ounces.
Yeah, it's 8 ounces.
8 ounces.
Right? So if you're drinking a 20-ounce pint, right, you're thinking, okay, I've had one of my 2 drinks, and you've nearly had 3. Right.
Well, there's something to consider too. Like some beer I drink, Guinness is 4.2% alcohol per volume. So in a 20-ounce pint, it's 4.2%. There's another beer that usually it's the one I consume when we're doing the pubcast. It's Flora Hall traditional English bitter, but it's called the Flora Hall Amber Ale at a different pub, because the word bitter in beer would frighten people away who aren't, anyway. Knowledgeable. It's 3.5% alcohol. And lately I've been drinking 0 alcohol beer. So what's the ruling on that, right? Because that would change. If it's 3.5% alcohol per volume in a 20-ounce pint, that's a lot less. That's 1.5% less than your standard beer, which is usually around the 5% mark. So that has to change too. But I do agree that we should be labeling alcohol for nutritional information, because they've been doing that in the U.S. for, oh my goodness, must be 30 years now.
Particular calories?
Oh, yeah.
How many calories are in your Cosmo? If you're wondering about that, right? So while the Canadian alcohol industry is pushing back and Conservatives are losing their mind, particularly Brian Lilley, for some reason, he seems to be really in a snit about this. This is not weird. South Korea already has these type of labeling, including warning labels like we have on cigarettes, on alcohol bottles and containers, and Ireland is planning on implementing them. So this is not some weird decision. It already exists in other places in the world. Just so you know.
And I'm trying to find,
because you'll never hear that.
What's the reasoning for? Yeah, but what's the reasoning for not doing it though? Is what I don't get. Like what's well, we can't do this because what? Giving people the information to make an informed decision is a bad thing since when?
If the informed decision they are likely to make is to not consume your product.
I could see the alcohol companies pushing back, but why is Brian Lilley? Is he in somebody's pocket?
I think
other than Doug Ford's?
Maybe like this. Well, all the Conservatives seem to be really into alcohol because that's all they want to do all the time. It's like, yeah, now you can bring alcohol to the park. Now you can buy it at the corner store. Now you can get a buck of beer. Now you can, it's like. They seem to be like really
here in the province of Ontario. That's implemented by a man who does drink.
Right.
There 14 cannabis stores within 14 or 16 within a 1.5 kilometer radius of my apartment. 14. Here's a funny one for you. Up the street from where I live, there's a farm boy, and I shop there regularly. Mm-hmm. They had been selling beer. It originally opened as a Sobeys. Sobeys bought Farm Boy. They converted the store to a Farm Boy. They still had beer. It was a smaller selection, but they still had beer and a beer cooler. A couple of weeks ago, I walked into the store and I'm like, where'd the beer cooler go? Oh, yeah, we're not selling beer anymore. What? Why not? Well, according to the government of Ontario, we're too close to the local liquor store, which is 1 block over. I'm like, yeah, but that store relocated from another place. You guys were here first. Is there no grandfather clause? No. So please explain to me how Doug wants to have beer sold every freaking where. They had a whole campaign about buying beer in the corner stores, but now you have a grocery store that sells beer. They're not allowed to sell it anymore because they're too close to the liquor store and they're in direct competition. But the liquor store is not in the business of selling beer. They're in this business of selling liquor and wine. They also sell beer.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's bizarre. I don't understand it. He wants to put it in corner stores, but he pulls it out of grocery stores because they're too close and you're in competition with the liquor store. But the liquor store sells more than just beer. So I do not see the logic there. Oh, and by the way, there is a wine store within the store that sells Ontario wines. Are they going to make them shut down now too?
No, because they're only allowed to sell Ontario wines.
That's right. And they've been around for decades. They've had wine stores in grocery stores for decades. So why all of a sudden they can't sell beer? What I said for a long time is, if you're going to put beer in corner stores, make it Ontario craft beer in the province of Ontario. Yeah. Craft brewers only in corner stores. No big breweries in corner stores. That'll never happen because big business has Dougie by the fun.
Yep. Okay, kids, I think we have a show. What do you think, Mr. Grizzly?
Yeah, we got to wrap. There's another show that starts shortly thereafter. After us, DB2 has got a 1 hour episode coming up. So we need to vamoose from the network DB2? So he can have his room. It's another program on the network. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. I'm trying to keep on top of all the other podcasts on the network with the programming, and sometimes it's difficult. So I'll check it out. I'll check it out because he's going to be live at 9:30. So I'm going to give it a watch because I may have already seen the show, but I don't know because it just says DB2 in the programming grid. Yep, that's all.
Don't know what DB2 is. We'll find out, I guess. Okay, but so before we go, some kids that joined us during the chat. Good morning, Kit Jillian. Thank you. Good morning, Kit BB. Good morning, Kit Bruce. Lovely to see you joining us from the Philippines this morning. Good morning, Kit Jillian. Thank you for joining us today as well. If I missed you, I am sorry, kids. Oh, Kit Bell. Good morning, you beautiful person. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I just didn't see your name going through during while the thing scrolled. Oh, and Kit Dean Savage, which seems to be a new name for us as well. So thank you. Welcome to the podcast and to the family. Hope you enjoy it here. Tim, Kit Tim. Yes, lovely to see you.
Dean has a very, very poignant statement too here from Dean. Personally, knowing 2 recovering alcoholics, I didn't care for the grocery store availability in the first place. My convenience isn't worth shoving people's addictions in their face constantly. Can't argue with that. I cannot argue with that. I do agree with you. I do agree with you. I question the logic of the Ford government.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. There is no logic.
That's why you question. Exactly. And hello, Kit Lazy Sunday with Wade and Doe, who says, instead of relying on government guidelines, try using some common sense. It works remarkably. It does. The problem is, my Aunt Carol always said to me, Dougie, if common sense were actually common, everyone would have it.
Exactly.
That's the problem. Define common.
Define common.
Yeah. All right, kits. That's our show. We hope you loved it because we loved making it for you. Remember, sharing is caring. And word of mouth is priceless. So let your peeps know about us. Let all the people that you influence in your circle know that we exist and that we provide really, 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 really good stuff. I see you pointing there. Are you pointing the right way? Or am I pointing the right way now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now you're pointing the
All
right
right.
way. There you go.
Right
There you
there.
go. That's the subscribe
That's-
button. Make sure to hit that and share
All right.
it.
There you go. I keep moving from side to side, so I don't know which way to put my finger.
Always that way. Always that way. No matter where you're sitting, always that way.
But that way is the opposite way
Yeah.
for me. Like when I see
No,
myself in the
and-
camera, I have to do the opposite.
Yeah, I know. It's confusing.
Because democracy is something you do. I again don't have anything for you today, kids. I've been a little busy binge watching movies. Oh, by the way, we delivered our jury decisions tomorrow, so I'm now back to my regular schedule. Or I don't have to watch 11 movies in a certain number of days. So all of a sudden I got free time. So I'll be able to come up with democracy is something that you do for you. If you have anything that you can suggest in the chat before we're over, kids, say what it is that we could do for democracy and I'll yell it out before the show's over. If you really like this podcast, you can find us on Crier Media Network as well as all Beaver Grizzly friendly platforms. And they should all be Beaver Grizzly platforms. If they're not, take to the streets. No, don't take to the streets, kids. Not for us, not yet at least. Stars and reviews are appreciated. So if you would like to give us some, please. Just giving you a little hints here.
High five.
High five us with 5 stars.
High five.
Or a really good review. Well, we hope for a good review, but good, bad, or ugly, let us know what you think. If it's ugly, please be gentle because, we are sensitive creatures. But your reviews and your stars are greatly appreciated, so please do hand them. And they also help us be found by other people. So please, if you have the time, we would appreciate it. We love to hear from you. So reach out to us on Facebook, The Book of Faces, True North Eager Beaver, at True Eager on Twitter, or by email, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. If you wish to subscribe to us and receive our podcasts automatically as soon as they are ready, you can go to our pod page, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, with a hyphen between each of those words, the True North Eager Beaver, and we will come to you, straight to you, as soon as we have stuff for you. You won't miss a single episode. You'll get absolutely everything, even our audio exclusives, because every now and then we do have some audio exclusives, and you don't want to miss those. While you're at it, if you happen to be watching us, why not go to our YouTube page, True North Eager Beaver Media, and smash that button there too. Subscribe to us. That helps us out very much. We can't do this without you and your kind and generous support. So if you feel that we've given you a particularly good amount of information and or entertainment today, well, then please drop a few nickels into our tip jar. You can find it at our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. That's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. And notice I said nickels because there's a beaver on it. Slip us some beavers.
There's an old joke about that. Years ago, in I forget which European country there was a topless woman on a type of currency prior to the euro, and somebody said, "You got anything like that back in Canada?" He goes, "Well, we got a beaver on the nickel."
Yes, Kitlinda M has it. Yes, and thank you for saying it because I had made a note of it. Yes. Because democracy is something you do, participate in the Ontario budget consultations through February 10th. Have your say. The federal ones are also going up till February 10th, and I would suspect, since most provinces do deliver their budgets in April, that probably all of them are having budget consultations at the moment. Probably maybe all of them are closing on February 10th or about as well. So please go to your local, provincial, territorial government website or the federal one and look up budget consultations and do have your say. Thank you, Kitlinda M. That's a very, very, very good democracy, something you do recommendation. And I'm sorry that I had forgotten to write it down because you did suggest that the other day and I had made note of it.
You didn't written it down,
I didn't
did you?
I didn't written it down for this morning. I made a note of it somewhere else, but you have to understand, I've got notes in 4 or 5 different places. Depending what's closest to me at the time when I'm listening to a podcast. Oh, I'd write this down on a piece of paper. Sometimes it goes into my phone. Sometimes I'm at the computer and I type it in. So I have to bring them all together at one point. If you want to get something for your money because you are a smart and savvy consumer in this day and age, because, it is inflation for everyone and it is higher interest rates for everyone. Well, we've got you covered with very affordable, good quality to price ratio. Eager Beaver merch. You can buy Mr. Grizzly Civic tees or Eager Beaver tees, and we will ship them to you. We have something for literally everybody. Smizes, sizes, smizes. I'm thinking Tyra.
Smizes.
When you wear it, you have to smize. Smile with your eyes. We have them in sizes small to 3XL, 6 different designs for you to choose from. So please go to, oh, Mr. Grizzly's getting up.
Have to readjust.
Okay.
I don't want to. I got to readjust, so I stand up to readjust.
So while he's doing that, please visit crier.co/crier-media-shop to get yourself some merch. Unfortunately, we have only...
Fellows will understand.
Unfortunately, on the site so far, we have only tops and no bottoms.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
Yes, Kit Bruce. Everything I knew needed to know about becoming a star, I learned from Tyra. First, smile with your eyes. And
no, that looked psychotic.
Yes,
sure.
Well, it's like don't smile without the eyes, right?
Yeah, that looks psychotic too.
that's very bad. I got that. It's in the hall.
It puts the lotion on its skin or it gets the hose again.
So smile with the eyes. Always find your light. And when you can, booty tooch. A little booty tooch. Just pop that hip or pop
Take
that
your word
booty.
for it.
Just give a little stand like this, and you'll be fine. You'll be high fashion, baby. High fashion. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, I'm so gay sometimes. The Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying, until next time, dear kids, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourselves. Mr. Grizzly, please give us some words of wisdom. We desperately need them.
It's Friday. I'm tired. It's been a long week, and please don't put that earworm in my head. I will drive to Kingston and slap you for that. God damn it! No knock against Rebecca Black. She was only 13 at the time, but God, that was a horrible
Friday,
song.
I'm in love. There we go. I switched it up for you.
There, that's better. Let's go with The Cure. Monday, Saturday. Anyway, okay. So words of wisdom today. If you don't have to leave the house, don't. It's minus. I think we're hitting minus 50 with the wind chill later. It's currently minus 41 in the nation's capital of Ottawa, Canada. And if you have to go outside, do not have any exposed flesh. Somebody goes, well, what about wear a balaclava? Put on ski goggles if you have to. I remember landing in Winnipeg in minus 48, and the guy who was working on the tarmac came in full balaclava and ski goggles, because guess what? That wind in your eyes hurts. Yep. It hurts.
Yes. Don't be like me, kids, who did not follow Mr. Grizzly's advice and schedule himself an appointment at the physiotherapist, and it's a half an hour walk to get there and half an hour walk back.
That would be an Uber drive today, sir. I think you should take an Uber.
I may be kind and gentle with myself and splurge for that taxi cab.
You really should. You really should.
I look tropical, but I'm not. But there's still a limit to how low I'm willing to go.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
All right, kids. Mr. Grizzly, please roll the credits.
The True North Eager Beaver podcast is an Eager Beaver Mr. Grizzly collaboration. Research, story, and guest curation and copy written by the Eager Beaver. Recording, production, editing, and additional research by Mr. Grizzly. Music courtesy of Bensound royalty-free music. Once again, thank you to our founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Fee Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing and CanadianTarot.com. And thank you to Pete Jarvis for our artwork. We love it. Kids, we'll talk to you real soon. Bye.
Take care. Pay attention to the following closing bumper. I changed a few things. I think you'll like this, Mr. Beaver. Here we go. Take care, folks. Stay warm Beaver if you have to go out. And we'll see you soon.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver media podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.